Harlingen City Commission approves a moratorium on data centers. Meanwhile, another data center developer is suing Cameron County and the Attorney General, and environmentalist groups are challenging Formosa Plastics over potential permit changes. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Memorial Day. It's May 25th. Last week, the Harlingen City Commission approved a 120-day moratorium to conduct research and update ordinances in the event a data center ever decides to move within city limits. Harlingen's District 2 City Commissioner Daniel Lopez spoke with KRGV about what they will do if that ever happens.
I'm not saying that there is any data center that is looking at moving into Harlingen, but if eventually, in a year, they were to try to, we would already have the infrastructure in place to be able to handle that and know what to do.
Lopez says he's not aware of any data centers currently seeking to move into Harlingen. He said the moratorium will allow officials to ensure infrastructure and ordinances are prepared for that in the case that it does. Harlingen Mayor Norma Sepulveda also released a statement regarding the moratorium last week. Meanwhile, the Rio Grande Valley Business Journal reports that a developer pursuing a proposed Cameron County data center project has sued the county and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. The lawsuit is part of an effort to block the release of project records it argues contain confidential business information. Eneas Energy filed suit on May 13th in Travis County's 353rd District Court, seeking a temporary injunction and declaratory relief after the Texas Attorney General's office determined portions of requested project records should be released under the Texas Public Information Act. The Rio Grande Valley Business Journal is in partnership with KEDT. Corpus Christi City Council will not have a regularly scheduled meeting tomorrow. However, they are expected to have a pretrial hearing on Wednesday related to the removal proceeding of Mayor Paulette Guajardo. We'll have an update for you later in the week. For today, the Mayor's Committee on Veterans Affairs, in collaboration with Nueces County Veterans and State Service Office, hosted a Memorial Day ceremony at the Coastal Bend State Veterans Cemetery. The ceremony was relocated from Sherrill Veterans Memorial Park. The ceremony included a parade of colors, representatives from Disabled American Veterans, Veterans Band of Corpus Christi, and other veterans organizations. In Calhoun County, two Texas-based environmentalist groups are challenging a potential permit change for a major manufacturing company adjacent to Matagorda Bay. 25 News Now reports that San Antonio Bay Estuary Waterkeeper, or SABEW, and the Environment Texas Research and Policy Center are seeking a public meeting and a contested case hearing over a potential permit from the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality for Formosa Plastics in Point Comfort. SABEW and Environment Texas claim the updated permit departs from an earlier permit accepted in 2023 that required zero discharge of physical plastics from the Point Comfort plant. The Environmentalist Coalition claims that residents have reported seeing plastic pellets in Matagorda Bay even after the zero discharge standard set in 2023. Both groups say previous violations could impact the recreational and economic use of the bay. Tomorrow is Election Day for the Texas primary runoff contest. Polls open at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider has the details about how to participate.
Voters should remember to bring with them to the polls one of the state's 7 accepted forms of photo identification. The list of acceptable forms of ID is available at votetexas.gov. For voters under 70, that ID must be current or expired for no more than 4 years. For voters 70 and older, any form of acceptable photo ID is valid, expired or not. If they don't possess one of the accepted forms of photo ID, voters can present one of several supporting forms of ID and sign a reasonable impediment declaration. The list of possible supporting forms of ID is also available at votetexas.gov. Voters who participated in the March primary can only vote in the primary of the same party they did previously. Polls close at 7 p.m. I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
The Texas Tribune has hosted a series of events across the state to discuss the increasing number of data centers that have sparked many concerns, especially from rural Texans. The latest event came to Lubbock, where citizens have already pushed back against data centers with issues about water and energy use and impact on the land in a part of the state that's heavily dependent on valuable agriculture. KTTZ's Samantha Larned reports.
The event was part of a series underwritten by Google, intended to get communities involved in conversations about data centers and answer their questions about policies and infrastructure. Among the panelists was former Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush. Bush currently manages an advisory firm that deals in businesses as well as government relations and public affairs. When it comes to concerns regarding land and water usage and economic impact, he says local governments have a lot of control in what they want to see from potential data center developers.
Talk those issues out before you invite a center into the community. That way, if you're an elected leader, you can have those direct conversations with constituents moving forward and have an accountability feature embedded in those agreements.
However, there are limitations as to what cities and counties can do under the state constitution, and some actions like moratoriums or legal suspensions will be the subject of conversations in the upcoming legislative session.
I mean, it is pretty clear that it would be unconstitutional for an outright ban. Now, in terms of having those discussions and saying, hey, no incentives and no abatements, that's, on the table. But the state legislature will be visiting, and they should, honestly, is making that clarity very visible for city councils, for mayors, for county judges, county commissioners, and then, of course, the general councils that are going to be called into the back room by those mayors and judges as to what the rules are.
Texas' 90th legislative session is set to begin in January 2027, and legislators can begin filing bills as early as November. In Lubbock, I'm Samantha Larned.
A new mural in Dallas honors the 2 men killed in last year's shooting at the Dallas ICE field office. KERA's Priscilla Rice reports.
The mural on the side of Huitzitzilin Cafe depicts Norlan Guzman Fuentes and Miguel Ángel García Hernández surrounded by flowers. They were killed in September when a gunman opened fire on the Dallas ICE field office where they were being held. North Texas artists Juan Velázquez and Armando Aguirre say they wanted the mural to stand out. So Aguirre says they used bright colors and symbols that represent migration, such as the monarch butterfly.
They were loved ones, they had family, they had friends, and they're still out here healing, and I hope that this mural helps with that.
The efforts for the mural were organized by the Dallas Liberation Center and Vecinos Unidos DFW. I'm Priscilla Rice in Dallas.
And in sports last week, the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Dallas Stars in the courtroom. A judge awarded the Mavericks full control over the American Airlines Center in a dispute with the Stars. KERA's Toluwani Osabamowo reports the hockey team is challenging the ruling.
Both teams play home games at the American Airlines Center under leases that end in 2031. The Mavericks sued in October, arguing the Stars had moved their headquarters to Frisco in violation of the team's contractual agreement. The Mavs said that gives the basketball team full control of the Dallas arena. The Stars said their headquarters are still in Dallas, and only the city has the authority to declare whether the hockey team has breached their contract. But the Dallas Business Court ruled the Stars had in fact moved to Frisco, letting the Mavs control the American Airlines Center. The case is now in front of the 15th Court of Appeals. I'm Toluwani Osabamowo in Dallas.
And the San Antonio Spurs tied up the NBA Western Conference Finals series with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Spurs defeated the Thunder Sunday night 103-82 to tie the series at 2 games apiece. Game 5 will be held tomorrow in Oklahoma City. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.